On this hot sheet, I discuss a record high for the U.S. housing market, the rise of million-dollar homes, builder confidence, plus mortgage demand for new and existing homes. Today is Wednesday, August 16th, 2023. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Okay, welcome back to the hot sheet. Hit the thumbs up. Glad to have you here. If you're on the live stream, let me know which market you are tuning in live from. Lot to cover, a lot of downloads. So BAMX members, you're going to have, I think, 7 downloads in the daily download. If you're not a BAMX member, you can use the code HOT, get 10% off of BAMX today and become a BAMX member where you get access to all the hot sheets daily downloads, all of our live streams, private group, and all of our courses as well. Let's get right into the first topic. The U.S. housing market recovers the nearly $3 trillion that it lost, hitting a record $47 trillion in total value. The housing market has supreme value for Americans. Remember, homeowners are 44 times more wealthy than renters. Renters don't have access to all of this value. Of course, you don't really have access to the cash till you sell the house, but it's an asset that stabilizes income, savings, and generational wealth for the long view picture. The total worth of U.S. homes hit a record $47 trillion this past June as a scarcity of houses for sale propped up values. Okay, we're going to get into some of these affordable markets that saw the biggest jumps in value in just a bit, while pricey West Coast metros and pandemic boom towns face large drops. Of course, L.A. being one of them. LA has shed $153 billion since last summer. I'm sorry, LA agents. I know Taya, who's going to be doing the closing keynote at BAM Camp on September 20th. BAMX members get 25% off of that. I think prices went up last night at midnight. They're not up that much, so you can still get 25% off if you're a BAMX member. But Taya will be speaking at BAM Camp. She gets riled up when I say LA prices are down. I'm talking about the facts here. This is reported from Redfin. LA as a whole has lost $153 billion. I know there's pockets of LA, and I encourage Taya and every local agent to go micro on their market so that they can highlight those pockets of safe value in whatever region or city you might be discussing. Millennials gained more value, according to Redfin, than any other generation, surpassing the silent generation in total worth. Okay, luxury homes are losing value, while homes worth between $250,000 and $750,000 are posting gains. Luxury homes losing value is something I first guessed months ago as we started to see the market cool off a bit. Seems like an obvious, and it certainly is playing out that way. Let's take a look at some of the daily downloads here. This shows you the total worth of U.S. real estate, sitting at almost $47 billion, 46.8. I'm sorry, 47 trillion, 46.8 there at the top. Okay. The next chart here is home values for millennials, which has surpassed that silent generation. So millennials now passing the silent generation, still well behind Gen X and baby boomers in home values and total worth of U.S. homes, again, in the trillions of dollars for millennials, but not anywhere close to what Gen X and baby boomers have, but starting to, have that rise, which is, there's going to be a huge, shift here in value. In value going from here, the baby boomers, to here, the millennials, over the next 15 years. In fact, we talked about this a little bit at Knowledge Brokers podcast with Lance Lambert from Fortune. And Lance, I asked him the question. I said, hey, Ivy Zellman from Zellman and Associates, one of the most brilliant real estate minds and, economists and market forecasters in our space. She says in 10 or 15 years that we might actually have a surplus of inventory. Does that sound crazy? But her belief is that as these boomers, in 15 years don't need as much real estate as they are enjoying right now, a lot of them enjoying retirement, enjoying life, buying a second home. In maybe 10 to 15, when they don't need as much, there's going to be a huge shift in that wealth, and millennials are going to be the beneficiary of a lot of that. And you'll see these numbers kind of cross at some point, maybe in the next 10 to 20 year time frame. Okay. Home values held up better in the suburbs and in the rural areas than in urban areas. Let me know in the live chat. Are you operating your business in a suburb, rural, or urban area? The rural areas came in at 7.4 trillion total worth of U.S. real estate, while the urban areas were 10.2 trillion, and suburban was 29.1 trillion. So the suburbs are holding by far the most value. Suburbs and rural areas had their value hold up the most, according to Redfin again, and that's here on this year over year growth rate at the bottom, where you had a sharper decline for urban homes in comparison to rural and suburban, even though urban has more value than rural overall. The decline has been sharper in those urban areas. Okay. Homes worth between 250 and 750,000 saw the biggest jump in value. The total value of homes worth between 500 and 750 increased 4.1 year over year. That 500 to 750 range is starting to feel like unfortunately the standard to get a good quality home in a lot of markets. I'm sure you're seeing that in many of your markets, where it's like, wow, you got to spend 5, 6, 700,000 to get like a standard 4-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 2.5-bath quality home in a good location. It's unfortunate because we know many people can't afford 500 to 750 right now, but that does seem like the going cost for, what you would, if you're especially if you're like a family or something like that, if you're looking for that 10 to 15 year family home. 500 to 750 increased 4.1% year over year in June. Those worth between 250 and 500 also saw a 4% gain. By comparison, homes worth between 2 and 5 million experienced a 7.4% drop in value. Okay, so this is the biggest range where you're seeing a drop in value. 2 to 5 million had a 7.4%, and homes worth between 1 and 2 million also saw a 2.6% decline. So that luxury market on value is getting hit the hardest in comparison to other markets. We're going to talk about luxury here in just a second. Before we go to that, we can highlight a couple of these areas here that have done really well. One of those being Little Rock and Milwaukee, being the second. They saw the biggest jumps in value, while pricey West Coast metrics again saw that, like LA, $153 billion loss since last summer. What LA does have going for it, like many other luxury markets, is a lot of $1 million plus homes. I guess you could argue if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Nearly 1 out of 10, according to Redfin, U.S. homes are worth at least $1 million. This is close to the all-time high. Okay, share of $1 million plus homes is on the upswing after dropping to a 12-month low in February. So with the price increases that we've seen here month over month, we're starting to see $1 million homes go back up. Okay, we saw that value go down last year at the end of the year, coming into the beginning of this year, and now has been back on the upswing. In June of 2022, 8.6% of all homes were worth over $1 million. Today, that number's at 8.2%, but it's considerably higher than where we dipped to in the low sevens last year, when Austin saw a 10% decline. LA, going back to the first topic here, lost 153 billion in value. In just June of 2019, not that long ago, only 4.1% of homes were worth $1 million or more. With all of the money printing that we're doing, you can point to other countries that have printed a significant amount of money, that have had their dollar kind of, or whatever, you know, currency they have pegged down, you do see real estate remaining very high for long term. I see this $1 million, you know, number going up, and it's only done nothing but go up since 2012, of course. But I see this number continuing to go up. In the next 5 years, I'd imagine that 10+% of our homes in America are worth over $1 million. Now, you can argue whether that's good or bad. It does it does start to open up opportunity for real estate agents and professionals. Okay, when you were in the year 2000, if you were going to say, "Hey, I'm going to be a luxury agent, just focus on $1 million homes," when only 0.5% of the homes nationwide were worth more than a million, that'd be a pretty risky market to put all your eggs into that basket. You know, like, not enough transactions. There's not enough homes, period, worth more than a million, 0.5% in 2000. And then how many of those are selling? So for an agent to say, this is all I'm focusing on is million and up in the year 2000 would have been a bad business plan outside of a couple pockets in the country. But today, is that a bad plan? It might not be, depending on your market. And in the next 5 years, when I think this number crosses over 10%, it might be the safest market to be an agent in. Think what's going on with DOJ and buyer agency and potential commission compression, more of it in the future. Being in the luxury price points of a given market might offer the most protection. It might offer also the most clients in the future, because those luxury clients probably aren't going to give up the advantage of having an agent. They understand it more. They want that service a little bit more. It's one of the things that I'm thinking about quite a bit. I'd be curious to know if you're thinking about that as well. And as we see this number continue to increase, now at 8.2%, once again, over 8%, near all-time high of $1 million homes in the market. How do you feel about it? Let's take a look at some of the metros. Okay. Bridgeport, Connecticut has a share of homes worth at least 1 million year over year change, 2.74, 25% of Bridgeport. They're talking the metro there. Anybody familiar with Connecticut might say, what's Redfin doing? Their metros are certainly outside the city limits there. Boston has a 21.5% share. That was in June 2023. Now 20.3%. Miami, 13.3% share of homes worth at least 1 million. Everybody thinks Miami is so expensive, but it's still one of those big booming cities with inbound migration where you can actually find some affordability, believe it or not. Not going to find affordability on the beach, but you can find affordability in the city. Just picking out a few others. Nassau County, New York, 15.4% share of million plus homes. Charleston is at 11.1%. If you'd like to add a metro into the live chat, I could certainly scroll to that. Fort Lauderdale at 6.8%. Providence, Rhode Island. Don't think of luxury when I think of Providence. Shout out to all my Rhode Islanders, but that's just the truth. 2% in Providence, 1.2% in Hartford County. West Palm, 13.1%. Virginia Beach, 2.3%. Richmond, VA, 1.9%. Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina, 4.1%. Expect that number to go up in the future. Wilmington, Delaware, 1.1%. Atlanta, 3.5%. I expect that number to go up in the future. Little Rock, which is the deal, going back to the last topic, one of the bargain areas, is at 0.8%. Birmingham at 1.1% in Alabama. Tampa is only at 5%, and Tampa's been booming. One of the markets that's increased in value the most. Still only 5% of the homes in Tampa are up over $1 million. We want St. Louis, Dallas, Jacksonville. I think I just crossed Jacksonville. Jacksonville's at 4.5%. We want Dallas and St. Louis. Okay, let's see if we've got them on the list. Chicago at 3.6% share of over $1 million homes. San Antonio, I know it's not Dallas, but it's 2.3%. Dallas, here we go, 6.3%. That's up from last year at 5.9%. And then we want to try to grab St. Louis if we can before we move on here. San Diego, by the way, 43.5%, big number. LA. So despite the $153 billion drop, 43.2% share of million plus homes. It's up from last June's share of 38% homes. So LA becoming more and more unaffordable despite overall prices coming down because more homes are worth over $1 million. It's one way to look at it and consider the market in LA. San Francisco, look at that number. 84.2% in San Francisco. Just crazy there. Okay. There you go on the values. That'll be linked up for you. Tampa is only 5% because the areas booming are the suburbs of Tampa. All right, there you go. That'll be linked up for you in BAMX as well as all of the daily downloads. One thing builders have done, they've gone down on the NAHB Wells Fargo Home Index. Okay, rising mortgage rates and high construction costs stemming from a dearth of construction workers, a lack of buildable lots, and ongoing shortages of distribution transformers put a chill on builder sentiment in August. So the builder sentiment comes out every single month. Anything above 50 is positive for builders. Anything below 50 would be a negative outlook for builders on their sentiment. Okay. Now, this is interesting because this came out yesterday, right after the Warren Buffett news that we covered on yesterday's hot sheet that you can go re-listen to or listen to if you'd like. Well, this number came down from 57 to now sitting at 50. Okay. So coming down to 7% on the NAHB HMI that National Home Builders and Wells Fargo partner on is at a dead even. So builders are neutral feeling right now about the current market, okay, and about the future of the market, dropping 7 points in the last 30 days. Interesting timing as Warren Buffett makes a big bet on 3 public traded national home builders, okay? So builders are they're in the middle. They're just taking a look forward and saying, hey, we're just not sure. Okay, now I've got an updated chart, John Burns Research and Consulting, that I find quite interesting on maybe the reason Buffett made this bet on these 3 particular home builders and not all of them. Okay, he only went into 3. There's many national home builders. The 3 he went into again were Lennar, D.R. Horton, and NVR. Why these 3? Here might be the reason. This is U.S. home builders' share of total residential lots owned outright. Lennar owns 30%, D.R. Horton 25%, and NVR at 0%. So you notice MDC Holdings or LGI Homes or Green Brick Partners up over 80% share of total residential lots owned right now. Meritage Homes, KB Home in the 70s. They have a lot of risk if the market turns, right? We're at 50-50 on builder sentiment. Okay, they could go either way. They're like one bad thing in the economy or another jack up on the rates or something like this might get us below 50 on the builder sentiment. And so Warren Buffett doesn't want to go into any of these companies here at the top who might be left holding the bag. That's what happened back during the last real estate bubbles. A lot of these builders were they got too ahead of their skis. They were holding so much land, and you got to pay taxes on that stuff. If you can't build on it, sell it. It's really, land is worthless if you're not using it. The whole land appreciation game is a tough one to play because there's expenses in doing it. So anyways, that might be one of the reasons. I'll drop that down below in the daily download, especially if you're in one of these new construction markets. This might be an eye opener of which builders you should be creating the strongest relationships with, the ones that are in the best position to succeed going forward. Builders continue to succeed right now, and it's because they have the attention of the buyer, of even the mortgage-backed buyer. In July, new home purchase mortgage applications increased 35.5%. This is for new homes specifically, not for, all mortgages or resales. Okay. So a 35.5% jump in mortgage applications. We know that new homes make up 1 out of 4 sales right now in inventory starved markets. So this makes sense. Also, builders are able to buy down these rates. So they're becoming more attractive opportunity for a lot of builders, for a lot of buyers, rather. Okay. We also have an update released this morning on weekly overall mortgage demand. That demand has dropped yet again. Get used to that being the signal throughout the rest of the year. One, we're in that seasonality time of year where mortgage-backed buyers reduce. And two, the interest rate is at a 22-year high as of yesterday. Okay, and that matches the high last year, basically. Okay, we're at 7.37. We're just about at that. So CNBC is saying matching a 22-year high. If you want to get technical, we're a couple points off, but we're right there on where we're at for the high. Mortgage demand from home buyers was 26% lower than the same week a year ago. 1 out of 4 buyers, mortgage-backed buyers, are missing from this market compared to last year's market. Think about, as a real estate professional, what Q4 looked like last year. And we have only 3 of the 4 buyers going into this Q4 that we had last year. I said it on the Real Word podcast yesterday. Unfortunately, I think agents just expect a similar winter. I'm not trying to be, we did out the agent sentiment report with 1000 Watt. We partnered with them. You can, if you're a BAMX member, you get full access to it. We did a blog on it on nowbam.com. And agents are very optimistic. And I think that really good, smart agents should be optimistic. But I think there's a reason to be realistic too with what's coming in the Q4. And it should be a motivator for most to really attack the opportunities coming in September and October, to elevate the game on how many relationships they can create during this time frame. I think the weekend warriors out there in the fall are going to clean up and put themselves in a better position for Q1. It's not always what you want to hear as a real estate professional, but I think it's the far more practical advice for anybody that's looking to succeed. Okay. Applications to refinance a home fell 2% for the week, and we're 35% lower than the same week a year ago. So overall, total mortgage application volume down 29% from a year ago. And overall for the week, with the interest rates rising, down, what is the total down for the week? Doesn't even give me that number. It just says down. What the heck are you doing to me? This is why I want it straight from the source, not CNBC. Okay. If you're ever looking for this number, go to Mortgage Banker Association. Here it is. Mortgage applications just decreased less than 1%. So a very similar week to last week, decreased 0.8%. I would say that's more of a flat number. So a little bit of a misleading headline from CNBC. What do you expect from mainstream media? That's why you want to go to the source. Decreased 0.8%, but I would continue to anticipate drops overall as we get later into the year and as we continue to see this bad news on the 10-year. It's like we're just getting accustomed now to north of 4.2. The 30-year is reacting to that. And we saw it yesterday with another bump up at 7.26 off of 7.24. This number will come out today. The Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weekly was at 6.96. I can't recall the last time the 30-year fixed weekly was up over 7. Might see that this week, unfortunately. I would imagine that we would for sure. 737 was the high last year for the Mortgage News Daily. 726 yesterday being the high for this year. Okay. 1 week from today, we'll be coming off of Bam Bash, which will be Tuesday night of next week. I mean, that could be the most interesting hot sheet. I will still be doing the hot sheet live from Dallas, 8:30 local time, the day after Bam Bash. No problem for me. If it was Eric the Broke Agent hosting hot sheet, might be a problem for him. Won't be a problem for me at all. if you want to do a last minute decision and come to the Tom Ferry Summit, I consider it the Super Bowl of real estate events. I know we've got BAM Camp in September. And I guess that'll be the World Cup of events, if you will. But the Super Bowl of events to me has always been the Tom Ferry Summit. If you want to make a last minute decision to go there, use code PRBAMSS, PRBAMSS. You get $100 off their lowest ticket price option. And that link is down below. We did just go up on ticket prices due to demand on BAM Camp. We still have some remaining room there. The speaker list is just absolutely sick. I mean, look at this. Your camp counselors here. We've got so much love for what's going on with BAM that we were able to, even on a small event like this, put together 20 of the best minds in real estate and at BAM to speak at this camp. And so it's going to be a very interactive time, September 20th, right down here in Naples, Florida. BAM X members get 25% off of their ticket. Ticket prices did just go up, but you still get 25% off of that price. If you want to be a BAM X member, use code HOT to get 10% off of BAM X. There we go. By the way, Friday, I'm thinking about doing a different version of the hot sheet. Call it Freeform Friday. Anybody that's listened to talk radio for a long time, I know us that grew up in the Northeast, talk radio is a big deal, maybe not so much in other parts of the country. I'm a big talk radio guy, grew up on it, love it. I've been doing a local radio show for Connecticut for the last 8 years, every single week on FM radio. Anyways, they got this thing called Freeform Friday, where we don't really have a defined set of topics. Certainly if there's breaking news, we'll cover it, but more of a discussion, a lot of call-ins. Actually, Bobby, we should figure out how to do call-ins here on the hot sheet. I like call-ins better than posted comments, but Bobby, the producer, is collecting some comments, collecting questions throughout the week, and we're going to answer questions that have been collected throughout the week, but also questions in real time. We got to figure out how to do a call-in on Freeform Fridays here on the hot sheet. So we're going to try it this week. We'll see how it goes. Friday is the lowest day for news. I mean, we're committed to a daily housing show every single day. There's other media companies out there that are dreaming about doing it, that are surveying their people. Ooh, should we do a daily show? Why don't you just go and see if anybody cares enough about you to do a daily housing show? Lenny says, yes, Freeform Fridays. Hashtag triple F. I love it, Lenny. Let's rock and roll. So I'm looking forward to that Friday. Tomorrow, we've got a big jobs report coming due, I believe. Yeah, jobless claims tomorrow. We'll get into that. Yeah, I want the call-ins, Dawn. So that's Bobby's homework. I don't know if we'll have that ready for this Friday. That'd be a lot of pressure a week before Dallas for Bobby. I don't want him to crack under the pressure. But we should be able to make that happen soon. And I hope everybody has a great Wednesday. We'll be back to normal form, obviously, tomorrow, and then we'll try the Freeform Friday this Friday. Hope everybody has a great day. Be super productive. Quarter 4 is coming. Until tomorrow, toodaloo.